Moving on, page 3. Real estate owned. Again, they want to know if what you own, what the market value is, and what you owe on it. And again, we're looking for equity. Can you borrow against your home to pay the IRS? But most importantly, this section here is for the offer and compromise that we will discuss in the other topic. You've got your total equity on line 17C. Personal vehicles, you know, keep in mind that if you have a car that's paid off, as you will see on page 4, where we start listing the financial, the income and the expenses, you are entitled by law to own a car and to have monthly payments. So whether you have an old car, sometimes I tell my clients, you know what, you can either pay it to the IRS or go ahead, buy a car, lease a car, and we're entitled to the deduction there. Always keep that in mind. Again, total equity in the auto. Personal assets, you describe them, you know, whatever they are. And they're looking, pretty much look at it as, okay, if we were to have a yard sale on a Sunday afternoon, take everything out of the house, put it outside and sell it, what can we get for it? So use your best judgment. And then on page 4, very important to fill this one out properly. So let's go ahead and discuss it. And then we will be using the other pages, which are called national standards, to apply towards this form. If you haven't printed everything, please pause the tape and print everything. You might want to pause the tape and just review the 433A form that I have supplied for you here, just so you understand its entire mechanics. So let's begin here. On the left-hand side, you have total income. You have your wages, interest income, net business income, which is a Schedule C usually. So you need your financials done for the year. And again, if you're in business for yourself and you're representing somebody, you might want to have that individual retain your services to prepare a P&L, profit and loss statement for them. If you receive child support, alimony, rents, if you have a Schedule E. So anything you pretty much, your source of income must be included here. And pretty much I go to the tax return to see what the income is all about, and we will go ahead and input this here for the gross monthly. Sometimes you don't know what the monthly is. You have an annual, fine, divide by 12. If you have prepared financial statements from January through July, go ahead and prepare them and then divide by 7 to arrive at the monthly income. This is total income. Taxes included, everything. We haven't paid any taxes yet. Entire income. Now, let's move on to the right side, and that's the important part. Total living expenses. We have food, clothing, and miscellaneous items. You have national standards, one of the forms or one of the pages you printed, national standards. Take a look at it. It's only one page one of one. The IRS allows expenses per month, monthly expenses for food, housekeeping, apparel, personal care products, and miscellaneous. And if you take a look here, they have it broken down to 1 person, 2 people, 3, 4. And then at the bottom, there's additional persons amount per month is $262. So if you are one individual, well then your entire allowable monthly expenses for food, clothing, and everything else is $507. You can't say, well, wait a second, you know, I like to eat steak and lobster and all that, and I spend $1,000 a month. No. Get that out of your head. That's all you can put down on form 433A, page 4. 4 people, $1,370, period. That's the most. I usually put the most applicable rate. If you have 5 people, you take $1,370 plus $262. That's what goes on the form. And that's all there is underneath food, clothing, and miscellaneous. Second portion we get into is your housing and utilities. You cannot live in a mansion and pay $9,000 a month in a rental, a lease, or ownership. The IRS doesn't want you to live on the streets, but if you owe them money, you can't be paying that much money. So the maximum allowable for housing and utilities, again, if you printed the page here from the IRS, what I sent you, it's called California Local Standards Housing and Utilities, because I'm preparing this one based upon this here, and then they break it down per county. If you were to notice here, go down to page, let's see here, Los Angeles County. Here they allow up to $1,748. Here I only included $1,500 because I'm preparing this based upon, okay, my client, that's all he pays between rent and utilities for the month. But if you pay, let's assume $2,000 a month for utilities and house payments, you're only entitled for Los Angeles County only $1,748. No more, no less. Keep in mind, sometimes they will ask you for substantiation on the rental expense, lease agreement, house payment. If it exceeds this, the IRS wants that difference. So you can say, okay, my mom or dad are willing to help me through this mess. And then, hopefully we'll go ahead and agree to the amount above the amount that's allowed. That will be your monthly minimum payment to the IRS. Let's move on here. And I had you print local standards, housing and utilities for the entire nation. So you would have to click on your state, and from your state to your county to see what the maximum allowable national standards for housing and utilities for your local area itself. That's only one pager. So now let's move on, and we will get into vehicle ownership costs, and then we have operating costs. Ownership costs, I buy a vehicle, I'm entitled to make a monthly payment, or I'm leasing a vehicle, that's my monthly payment. And then there are maximum operating costs, and I can't believe the way they have it at the price of gas today as we're speaking at $4.50 a gallon. In my area, Los Angeles area, it's pathetic. But that's okay. I hope to goodness that things work out for all of us. So here, if you have no automobile, you are allowed $163